Welcome back to On Trial here on Trots TV. Time to have a look at the trials across New South Wales to see if we can find you a winner going forward. And we've got 3 trials from 3 different tracks this week. We're going to start at Wagga. Now, there was one trial run on Tuesday the 1st of December, and the trial was won by a pretty handy horse by the name of Regal Nightshade. But however, that's not the horse that I want to put on trial. It's the horse that finishes second, and that's Miss Adele Ann. Now, Regal Nightshade, the winner, pretty handy 2-year-old, did a really good job throughout its 2-year-old season. He won 3 races, qualified for the Bathurst Gold Crown, went around in the Elite and Breeders' Plate. I think placed second in that, so he's got his fair share of ability. Well, in this trial, Regal Nightshade fires straight out to the front and gets a pretty nice run in front. And now Miss Adele Ann is in the blue colours, and it settles 3 back on the pegs. They just fall into single file for majority of this trial. Inside the final lap, horse racing behind the leader moves to the outside of Regal Nightshade, and that allows Miss Adele Ann to move up onto the back of Regal Nightshade for the last little bit. Now, she follows the helmet of Regal Nightshade the whole way down the straight. Mitchell Reese doesn't move on her 1 inch. She hasn't had a race start. She's by Sports Rider. I wouldn't be surprised to see her show up early on in her career. Now, the winner, Regal Nightshade, he ran a mile rate of 2 minutes, 0.7, last half 58.7, and the final 400 was 29.4. So I do think Miss Adele Ann is one to follow out of this trial at Wagga, despite running second behind the pretty talented Regal Nightshade. Let's have a look at our next trialer, and this was from the Newcastle trials on Friday, December 4. A horse by the name of Rave Moonraker won trial number 2. Now, the horse, former Kiwi, wasn't on its best behaviour on debut in the country. In fact, put on a bad display and was sent back to the trials as a result. The horse has already won 2 races in New Zealand, so obviously does have some ability. I think off this trial performance, what we get from it is that he really likes to follow speed. He showed some good speed in the trial, was able to find the front, and then was happy to take a sit on Candidate, and basically took that trail until halfway around the final turn. But they really gapped the third horses. I think in the end, the margin between first and second and third was about 55 metres. Mark Callaghan, he's asking the horse to stretch out over the last little bit. But I thought it was a good effort. They went 1:57.3 for the mile. His last half was 58. They covered the last 400 in 29. So the speed was pretty solid throughout, and I think we can follow Rave Moonraker going forward, especially in one of those week races at Newcastle, maybe in a midweek program or something like that. So follow Rave Moonraker at Newcastle in coming weeks. And there was a horse with a massive flashing siren on top of its head at Bathurst at the trials on Monday night. A horse by the name of 408. Now, it is a 3-year-old. We saw it as a 2-year-old, trained by Matt Rue. Horse had 3 starts, was placed in all starts. One of those was a heat of the Bathurst Gold Crown. Finished third in the heat of the Crown behind the eventual winner, Shadow Runner. And the second place getter was Regal Nightshade. Well, we've already seen Regal Nightshade in this earlier segment of On Trial. So just keep an eye on this horse in this trial at Bathurst. This is something pretty special. We don't see all that often from a 3-year-old, especially a 3-year-old maiden. It shows no speed off the arm. Drops out at the start, goes back to last and stays there until about the 800 metre mark on the final occasion when they come through for the bell. As soon as they get to the 800 metre mark, Matt Rue's off and makes his run, and the horse rounds up these horses pretty quickly. But what was so impressive was the times as he races away for a comfortable win. Now, he went 1:58.7 for the mile for the short trip at Bathurst, but this is what makes it so impressive. Leader to winner. So from the 800 metre mark, think of how far this horse was off the lead at the 800s, 56.4. So his final 800 metres has been absolutely supersonic. Final 400 metres was 27.9. Now, I did have a chat with Matt Rue about 408. He's pretty happy with him, obviously. He said he'd look to start him in the next week or so. So just keep an eye out for a 3-year-old, and he's a 3-year-old maiden, so he's going to find himself in a pretty winnable race first up. A horse by the name of 408. I think Matt Rue's going to have plenty of fun with a pretty talented horse, 408. So the 3 horses going on trial this week, they are Miss Adele Ann, who trialled at Wagga. We're also going on trial with Rave Moonraker, a horse that performed well at Newcastle, and I'm really keen on 408. Wherever you see it in, make sure you have a few dollars on it. It was a super trialer at Bathurst on Monday. That's On Trial for this week. Back again next week to see if we can find you some winners out of the trials.